Okay, Dean, so we've been asked a lot by people, why did we sell our 2,000 square foot bungalow in a rural subdivision and move into a rental apartment? Sounds dreadful.
And we're going to chat about it today.
It's another one of those essential pieces of information for you to consider
Mhm.
if you're coming up to retirement or whether you're in retirement. So we're going to go through a few facts and we hope that you'll enjoy it. So what do we have first, Dean?
Well, I think one of the things, Norm, that was important to us was the space that we were going to get. Yes, we were moving from over 2,000 square feet. So we were looking for something that was a little spacious. So what we found actually has about 1,350 square feet.
So living in a rural subdivision, it was wonderful. We had 2 acres, had a ride on tractor, which was great fun, to cut the grass. But we couldn't get any services there. We got mail. We had to go to the mailbox,
Mm-hmm.
but there was none of the convenient. We couldn't get pizza delivered, fast food. We were too far. So part of it was we wanted to be able to walk more. And in our rural subdivision, we were just basically on a very busy road. When we say busy, it wasn't hugely busy, but it had a speed limit of 80 kilometers an hour. And cars used to drive at about 110 on it. So we didn't feel as safe. So we decided when the time came for Tina to finally retire after I'd been retired for 5 years,
Yeah, you kept on at me, didn't you?
we decided to move to a cheaper town.
Yes.
We were living in an expensive area, and so we had a family member living in this town, so we came down and we started house hunting. So we found an apartment building right away,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a few key features that we feel is important for you to look for if you were ever going to consider having an apartment. So let's name a few of them. The first one was underground parking.
Oh, that was really a must to us, wasn't it? We really wanted to get away from the brutal winter weather, didn't we? We wanted to be parked underground so we didn't have the problems.
And we felt the car
Yeah,
was safer underground.
absolutely.
It's access controlled by a clicker to
Yeah.
get in the garage door. So we felt safe. We didn't have to lug all our shopping through rain weather outside through a front door because we can access the building from underground in the parking spot.
Hmm. I think another thing too, Norm, that was important, particularly to me, was ensuite laundry.
Mm-hmm.
We'd heard sort of horror stories about people where they had to go down into the basement or somewhere to do the laundry, and that was something that we didn't want. So it was really important to us to find an apartment where
It
we had
was.
our own washer and dryer in the
And
actual apartment.
some of those
Yeah.
apartment buildings with basement washing machines are coin operated, so
Oh,
you
yes.
have to take down a whole bag full of coins.
So you actually had to pay, didn't you? Whereas
Yeah,
it's all included for us. We don't pay any extra for it, which was another real big plus, wasn't it?
demographics,
Yeah.
Teen. It's
Oh,
important when you come to an apartment building because it's communal living almost.
it is. That was important to us, wasn't it?
It is. So the average age in this building is over 60, I would
Hmm.
imagine. Um,
I would say maybe about 70% of the building is over 60.
at least.
So it's not kind of full of wild parties and things, is it?
Well, they get a bit of that marijuana in them, you know. No, there's no wild parties. We don't hear
No.
anything um, outside of our apartment,
Yeah.
basically, unless there's some construction work. If they're
Yes.
replacing some floors or doing some work like that, we can hear a little bit of that. But that brings us to
Hmm.
safety as well. So this apartment building is made out of concrete. So our apartment is totally self-contained in a concrete box. So the outer walls of our apartment um, and the inner wall and the exterior wall, are all concrete. So in case of a fire, the fire is self-contained within a concrete structure. So that was important to us as well.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? And we also did work out that we heard that the local fire trucks actually have ladders that will actually get up to our floor. So that was another plus that we'd heard of too,
Yeah, our
wasn't
floor is the
it?
maximum that the ladder can get
So
to.
we
So
thought
we
that
were
was
happy about
yeah,
that.
that was a plus too. But you're talking about security, Norm, and safety. I think what's really important to us, when you come into the building, you actually have to have a key to get in the front door. And that is the same when we mentioned about the underground parking. Once you're in there, you actually have to have a key to get into the corridor to actually get to the elevators.
Yeah.
So you can't just walk in here. So you need one key to get in through the front door. And then, yes, we go up the elevators, but then we have another key to get into our apartment. So that gave us a very safe feeling, didn't it?
So not
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
landlords are created equal, are they, Tina?
No, they're not.
So we
Yeah.
rent from a very large corporation that only rents apartments and townhouses now. They've just diversified. So they build their own apartments and then they lease them out. And the advantages to that are they're constantly maintaining the buildings. So, for instance, they employ their own gardeners, snow removal, plumbers, appliance repair people. Have I left anything out? We have a building manager that's resident.
Yeah, we have a couple that lives actually on site and they're available 24 hours a day for any sort of emergency or anything, which is great.
So the one thing that we can't stress enough to you is that apartment living is cost containment. We know every month how much our living space is going to cost us. And so, unlike a house that has variables, what's going to break down this week? What repair are you going to have to unexpectedly find money for?
It's all those unexpected expenses and maintenance, isn't it, that we don't have to worry about. There's a huge, a lot of stress is taken away because of that.
So if you think about buying a house, and we've bought plenty of them in the past, you buy a house and you really want to decontaminate it from the previous owner. You want to personalize it to you. So maybe the paint is the wrong color for you, or there's wear and tear in areas that you don't want wear and tear. So nearly every homeowner that buys a home in the first year or two are into heavy expenses of decorating, of upgrading, flooring, paint, fixtures, fittings, appliances. We don't do that in an apartment. When we came to this apartment, it had been renovated from the previous owner. So there was no trace of the previous owner.
Everything was brand new, wasn't it? Everything was a very neutral colour. It had been completely painted a lovely ivory beige colour. The carpets were all neutral. They'd all been steamed and cleaned. All the walls had been patched up. If there was patches, everything was painted. Everything was checked for, make sure it had all the appliances and everything. And you basically just walked into a brand new space that was just then yours to personalize it. It was very exciting, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And apartment living is really stress-free. We can't stress that enough. But for instance, everybody has kitchen garbage, so we just Tina ties up the bin, walks out into the corridor, goes down a few yards, and there's a chute. Throw it in the chute, we never see it again.
No, because a lot of places now, Norm, you actually have to pay and actually have to get tax to put on your garbage. We don't have any of that.
No. All the houses in this town have to pay, buy a garbage tag.
To put on every bag, isn't it? So we don't have that. Just take it out, put it down the chute, and it's gone. It's great.
We don't have property tax.
No.
We have rent. And in the rent is included our utilities. So we're paying, well, we don't tell you how much
Yeah,
we're paying.
we pay very little for the utility bit included in the rent, don't we?
It started off at $35 and it's gone up about 1% or 1.5% per year since then.
And I think one of the really important things is, and we have mentioned this before, that if you move to an area with rent control, we have rent control here. And to give you our clue, for this coming year, our percentage increase is only 2.5%. That is so small.
It's less than inflation.
Yeah, we've been here 7 years now, and it's minute how much each year the rent goes up.
And during
It
COVID,
is a big plus.
during COVID, this company gave us 1 year they didn't increase the rent during the pandemic to try and help their tenants out. And the landlord, since we've been here, has upgraded the toilets, put brand new toilets in, put new thermostats in, new shower heads.
Lots of things, haven't they? I was just going to mention, Norm, that compared to when we were in the house, we did have a slight thing about a week ago.
Yeah.
The kitchen sinks, we have two sinks, they both filled up with sort of mucky water, didn't they?
They did.
And it was like, oh my goodness, what's this? We instantly called the superintendents. Within 10 minutes, the super was there, walked through the door and said there's a plumber on their way.
He'd already called the plumber who works for the landlord.
Yeah, and within 30 minutes, the whole thing was fixed. We were blown away, whereas when we had the house, we'd have to get the phone book out, we'd have to find a plumber, we'd have to be charged probably for quick service. This was all included, and then it was all fixed. It was great. It does take a bit of getting used to, doesn't it, Norm?
It really does.
Because when we had problems before, Norm would fix it.
Yeah.
But now we have a whole team of people fixing them.
So one of the things that may happen in retirement is if you decide to stay in your own home, and there's nothing wrong with that. There isn't a one-size-fits-all. We understand that.
No.
But what we do here, especially in Canada, is that towards the end of retirement, when you're getting elderly, your property taxes just keep going up, and it's the property tax that drives you out of your home because you can't afford the monthly expense. So when we decided to throw money away in rent, we sat down, we did a budget. How much did our mortgage-free home cost us to carry every month without repair costs? And at the point of us coming here, it was roughly $950 a month to just carry the house without any repairs, without any maintenance. And we moved into this apartment at around $1,300.
So by the time we'd actually added that extra maintenance and things on, wasn't it? We reckoned there was only about $100 difference.
That's right.
Between the two. And we just thought, wow, this is amazing. And for us, because it was actually a bungalow that we lived in before, this was great because it's one level living. We come up in the elevator, but once we're in here, and for anybody who's not familiar with the 1,350 square feet that we do have, we have 2 bedrooms, we have 2 bathrooms, and we have a very large balcony, which was important to us, wasn't it?
So we do have outdoor living.
Yeah.
It's roughly 36 feet long by about 6.5 to 7 feet deep.
So it does give us quite a bit of outdoor living space, doesn't it? And when the weather's nice, it's great to have an outdoor area as well.
We eat our breakfast and lunch out there, and it's just perfect because we get the sun in the afternoon as well, so it really helps. So all that we're saying is that have an open mind, and part of what we're seeing is we're on a retirement journey that we're 7 years into, and we've been fit as a fiddle and travelled and had great times, but we can start to feel the aches and pains. We can see in the future that you might not be able to take care of a home because we
Yeah.
saw how our parents were. They got to the stage that by the time they got to their late 70s, they were incapable of taking care of the
Mm.
home, decorating it and all this sort of stuff. So then they had to start hiring a
Employing people,
gardener
didn't they?
to
Yeah.
mow the grass.
They
And
became sort of locked and tied to the home that really the home was then owning them, wasn't it?
the major
Mm.
thing that led to our parents' demise, we think, was social isolation. And
Oh,
that is the
yes.
one thing in an apartment building that you can socialize, you
Mm-hmm.
can interact if you want to. You don't
Yeah.
have to.
No.
But just getting in an elevator, have you ever
Yeah.
heard of an elevator speech? We were both in sales. We could tell somebody in 2 or 3 minutes exactly what we did or exactly what we were selling. And we can do that in the elevator here and have
Yeah.
a very quick conversation with somebody, and we feel as
Yep.
though we've socialized.
Yeah. Whether we're going down to the mail to get the mail, or whether we're going swimming or to the gym, we have all that in the building too.
Yeah,
It is important, and especially during COVID, we'd heard that a lot of people in houses didn't see anybody,
I know.
whereas we were still seeing people, and it was really quite nice just even coming to our own apartment, wasn't it?
So we've travelled
Yeah,
extensively from this apartment, and
yeah,
I'll tell you, once we lock the door on the way out,
yeah,
that's it. We don't think about it
yeah.
until we're walking back into the
Mm.
apartment building. We don't worry about
No.
it. If anything goes wrong with the apartment, if there's a leak, there never has been. But there's on site staff and they'll take
Hmm.
care of it. So this is
Hmm.
something for you to consider. We're not saying it's the perfect solution, but
No,
it is a solution.
absolutely it is, isn't it?
So we hope everybody is staying safe.
And keeping well.
And until the next time,
Bye bye.
bye bye.